And from Mission Control in Houston, they're reading up corrections on the timeline by a few seconds of when they will go through their most important maneuvers of this whole flight. And here is a picture from the command module.
Okay, John said he's not reading you. While I'm copying this, he said he's got a picture of the limb if you want to look at it on TV.
We have it, Gino. We're ready to continue with Noun 81 if you're ready.
I'm ready to copy. Go ahead.
Plus 0.
Houston clearly wants to get these nuts and bolts of this flight out of the way before they look at pictures.
Minus
What we can see there, he's obviously got the camera mounted in the window as John Young goes ahead reading off or taking off these figures from the ground tracking stations as to the times of the maneuvers to come. Maybe Leo Krupp out in Downey can tell us what we're seeing through the window there at the moment.
0, 1, 6, 7, 5.
I believe John has that TV camera mounted in the right-hand rendezvous window, and what you're seeing is the lunar module flying in close proximity. I believe he's going to move out about 25 or 30 feet. And as soon as they get this pad copied, they'll probably go into their inspection of the lunar module, and Tom Stafford will maneuver the lunar module around so we can look at all sides of it.
Got any idea what that is we're seeing right there, Leo?
No, I can't quite make it out on my monitor, Walter.
No, I can't either here. Some external part of the lunar module, quite obviously, but what it is, I can't make out either. They said they were about 35 or 40 feet away, which is where they're supposed to be. They're, of course, at this point, making 5,700 miles an hour around the moon and station keeping at that close distance. That it was a rather exciting 2 hours and 15 minutes from the time that they...
Okay, Charlie, I got everything except Delta VX on Noun 81.
From the time that they first discovered the pressurization problem until the signal was reacquired coming around the moon this time, and it was confirmed that they were able to undock. And now for the big part of this program later this afternoon.
Let me try to raise Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, Houston, over.
Trying to talk to John Young.
Charlie Brown, Houston, over.
This is Snoop. He's reading you loud and clear.
Roger. He's copying the pads in. We're not reading him at all, Snoop. And I'm ready with the PDI port pad if you're ready to copy, over. Okay.
For some reason or other, the ground...
PDI port, go ahead.
Mission Control in Houston,
0, 0.
we of the television audience are not hearing Charlie Brown, the code name for the command module in which John Young now is flying alone. His companions of Apollo 10 are there in that lunar module you see from the right-hand window of the command module. That is called Snoopy, characters out of Charles Schulz's popular cartoon. You can see down the lower left-hand corner those 10 magic steps to the moon that will be descended on the next lunar module to fly around the moon, Apollo 11, by the Apollo 11 crew when they land on the moon in July, if all continues to go well with this flight. In other words, the lunar module that we see there is canted over about 45 degrees, the top of it heading up to the upper right-hand corner of your screen, the lower part of it down to the lower left-hand side of your screen.
Is 15 seconds at 10%.
We can make out much more of it here now, of course.
Until completion.
You can see the dividing point between the upper stage and the lower stage. The two astronauts are in the upper stage. The lower stage is not inhabitable. They remain in the upper stage, and in the lunar landing, that lower part stays on the moon's surface, and they blast off from it as a launch pad. They will do the same thing on this flight, but make that separation at the 11-mile altitude. They'll be on the second revolution of the moon and their second pass within the landing site. That time scheduled this afternoon, for your benefit again, is that after this television look at the lunar module, then they go back around the far side of the moon again, and I'm listening to mission control for a moment, but the lunar module fires their engines at 4:35 while they're in the far side of the moon. We will not have a signal when that happens. They descend then as they come around the moon on the near side again down to that 10-mile altitude. They reach that point at 4:35, at 5:47 that is. 4:35 they fire the engines for the descent. They make that descent the near point at 5:47. They fire the engines again at that point to go into a very high orbit out around the moon, puts them out 200 miles above the moon on the far side. They swing around the next time. They come down within 11 miles of the lunar landing site 2. They're at the Sea of Tranquility. And this time, when they fire to rejoin the command module and to rendezvous with it and to dock later tonight.
4550 +00931. Plus all balls, plus 00011. 00931, 02200.
Scott McLeod, out at Grumman, we've been listening to this read-up of these figures back and forth. We heard from Tom Stafford saying that John Young could hear him all right, but apparently John Young's transmission to us was lost for a while, to the ground that is. What are they doing in the lunar module at this moment?
Well, at the present time, they're preparing to make their maneuvers probably around to show the command module all sides of the lunar module, a complete check. As you recall, they have already opened the landing gear. It has been deployed. You can, I think, on the monitor that I have here, see the forward gear, and I think you pointed out the ladder going down. These numbers that are being read to them are the numbers that they will enter in the computer and the numbers that they will be checking to make sure that they perform all of the burns correctly, that their updating is proper.
Scott, it's going to be the lunar module that does the turning around, a little pirouette there for Charlie Brown, dancing out in front of him. He's going to remain steady with the television camera, and it's the lunar module that's going to do the performing.
Yes, that's correct. Very similar to the way they did in Jim McDivitt's flight.
Right. It should be pointed out that the space people have grown exceedingly confident of their engineering skills. This is only the second flight in space of a lunar module. It's the first, of course, in the moon environment with its strange gravitational anomalies, with in this deeper space in which the command module must re-rendezvous with the lunar module, or these fellows have no way to come home. It's a critical flight, in every sense of the word.
With the CSM, we're losing his. We got the downlink to Goldstone, but we're not getting it here in the MCC.
Houston reporting these communication problems.
This column has got to be fixed in the next couple of hours, Charlie, so tell them to get with it.
Roger.
That was Tom Stafford, commander of this flight, showing a little annoyance. Saying everything's looking good there, but annoyed with this ground link communications problem. You just heard Mission Control say that Goldstone, which is the tracking station in California, is getting the downlink, that is the transmissions from Charlie Brown, from John Young in the command ship, but they're not getting them in Houston. So it's obviously...
Houston, it's Snoopy. Is that 69.2 by 57.5 good?
Stand by.
The problem is in some part of the ground link communications.
Snoop, Houston, we aren't with you on the 69.2. Say again.
I'm reading Verb 82 out of the Disky, 69.9 by, or 62.9 by 57.5.
Stand by. We'll have it for you.
They're confirming their orbit remains the same after their separation maneuver.
Snoop, Houston, Fido's checking. Stand by.
They want the read up from the ground.
Houston, that's a go on the after
Here's my answers I saw. Okay.
Their apogee, or apoloon, their highest point over the moon, is a little bit higher than the circular route they had expected.
About 7 minutes away from the separation burn.
Their low point, their perigee, or now that we're around the moon, they refer to it as paraloon, is about right, but they're a little high on the far side of the moon. It does not affect the flight.
Steady out here on the station, keep it, John, once we got squared away on our attitudes.